All right, guys, welcome to Surrender Outdoors podcast. This is episode number 2, and one of the things that we wanted to do this year, and when we started this, one of the things that was on my heart was to bring in our partners or sponsors, as some people would call them, to the show and let them talk about their products. You know, you guys get to see our products on the hunting show through all of our social media platforms, and see the product, but we want you to know the backstory, the backbone of the product, and why these people developed it and spent all their retirement money, you know, things like that, the things that goes on in the hunting industry for them to get a product released. So today we're here with our title partner. This is Jeff Christie with One and Done Game Pro, and they've got several products that we use and you see on our show, and we live or die by them. I mean, he's our title partner, and these are products that I will not hunt or go to the woods without. So welcome, Jeff. And
appreciate that.
And we're glad to have you. So we want to start out and tell people a little bit about you. Of course, Jeff is from Louisiana. I call him the Raging Cajun. He's we have a lot of fun when we get together. I mean, we cut up and joke. Way too much fun. And shouldn't get paid to have this much fun.
I'm telling you.
It should be illegal.
I'm still waiting to get paid for it.
Yeah, there you go. In fact, you owe me a check when we get done with this. So,
there it is.
Anyways, so tell us how and why right now your number one product is the feeder.
All right.
And we're going to go through some of the products, but let's specifically talk about the feeder. How did you come up with this and why?
My kids. I know that sounds crazy. Being a father and most hunters, you want your kids to always kill a bigger deer than you. You want to make their experience better. Well, my rule, them growing up in school, was if you made the AB honor roll, I checked you out of school early and we went hunting. So I would get everything ready for them to where if they worked that hard for those 6 weeks or how many weeks and they got the honor roll in their report card, hey, we're going hunting. And when we get out in the woods, the problem was a lot of the feeders I was using was either broken because of hogs, the coons had tore the motor off, bear had destroyed it. So I saw it as, on my part, a failure as a father. You know, all this time was spent, my kids did their part, I didn't do mine. So I just searched the internet for a bear-proof, a hog-proof, and varmint-proof feeder, and I really couldn't find one that I thought would suit my needs. So I said, right, you know what, I'm going to design my own. And everybody laughed and thought I was crazy, and believe it or not, I thought I was crazy too. And, you know, God willing, I prayed about it, and no joke, and it came to me actually one night, and I drew it out and said, man, I'm gonna change the feeding industry with this. And that's how we started building them and started putting them out and testing them. And first couple of years was pretty tough because, like with any business, you think you've got your stuff perfect, and then, you know, something little happens. You know, it jammed. Why did it jam? You know, I had somebody that said, this happened or this weld didn't. And it's like with anything, I tell people, hey, you know, if you got a dream and people think that it's not possible, I'm living proof. Because at 45 years of age, I stopped being a policeman, started my own business, and here I am.
Yeah, it's just really taken off. And for those that hadn't seen the feeder, it's basically a spin cast feeder, which is bear-proof, hog-proof, varmint-proof. And
all the parts are internal.
Right, it's directional, so they're all, water can't get to them unless there's a flood or something like that. And the barrel goes underwater, but
well, I've got to give you kudos. I know this is not, you know, in our little discussion, but people need to know that you called me on this. I think that's one of the things that you and I, we're more friends in this than business partners. I still remember you calling me saying, Jeff, you know, I want to purchase your feeders and I want to try them. I believe in them, and I think that's what made you different than a lot of people that I know in the industry, is the fact that you contacted me and said, I believe in your product, never asked me for anything, never wanted anything. And that was just one of the things I wanted to say. You know, I know that's not scripted or anything, but I needed people to know that, to me, that is what That's what Surrender Outdoors. That's who Michael Harrell is, and to this day I'm still impressed. I tell people all the time, have you tried my product? Do you know my product? Most people say, well, no, I want to. Well, you need to be like Surrender Outdoors, and because you push the products that you believe in, and I think a lot of people need to know that. So, okay, now you continue with your podcast.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's one thing that we believe in here at Surrender Outdoors is telling folks about products that we actually use.
Yeah. You did that,
yeah.
And you did it for a year. You did it for at least a year and a half or 2 years.
Right.
Before you even came to me, and I
don't think I asked you. I think you offered.
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm just gonna say you asked. It sounds better.
Yeah, but anyways, it's worked out, and we've been on a lot of hunting adventures together, and so anyways, the 55-gallon not only throws corn, it'll throw what other types of feed?
It throws corn. It throws dirty corn. Throws soybeans, dirty soybeans, peas, any size protein food dealing with deer or rabbits or goats or anything like that. The larger pellet for cattle, it won't throw.
Right, like cattle cubes, it won't throw.
Correct. It throws fish food, anything that will drop without like molasses or anything. If it drops on that spinner that's running at 3,000 RPM, it's coming out.
Right. Well, one of the things that's most impressive about it is I've been with you now for 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
This may be year 6.
In the beginning.
Yeah, and I've sold a ton of your feeders. I got a lot of friends and following that's personally bought them from me and ordered them from the website and come to the shows and bought them. Replaced one motor so far. One. Yeah. So tell us about the motor, because I think that's an important aspect of the feeder.
As well as I do as a hunter, you want your stuff to be dependable. And when I first designed my feeder, the first thing actually I did was look into the motors, because the industry uses brush motors. And I could not, even with all my feeders that I had in the past years, I couldn't get a brush motor to last. So I went the opposite direction. I looked into different types of motors, and when I called a company, they said the magnetic's the way to go. It's going to be more expensive, but it's going to be more durable, and it's going to last 5 times longer. So I went with the magnetic motor, and the first thing I did, I'll never forget, I brought it home, and I put this thing on this big battery, and I ran it. And when I tell you I ran this thing from 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock that night, nonstop. While I was working in the shop welding, I would actually go back and forth, and that's one thing that impressed me. We've even got some motors in Mississippi that went underwater when the river got high about 2 or 3 years ago, and they stay submerged for two months.
Right.
And they're still running.
Yeah, we had that happen in Houston with the hurricanes. Yeah. All they had to do was replace the timer.
That's it.
Plug in a new timer, and it's good to go. Well, so that morphed into not only feeding deer, hogs, turkey, bear.
You went to quail.
Yeah, a smaller version.
Yeah, we even did the smaller one for the quail hunter and the people who want to feed their turkeys during the off season. We didn't know a lot of things that our feeder does right now was brought about by the hunter himself. I can't take credit for that. I mean, these people, leave it to a hunter to take your product that you think is only used for deer and start calling you and say, man, this is the best fish feeder. Right. No, we don't sell fish feeders. It's throwing fish food.
Yeah, they're mounting them on docks now.
Exactly. Now they're mounting. So what did we do? We came out with a fish feeder, because of the hunters during the off season. Same thing with the turkey, and the quail. A lot of people were taking these things and, man, your thing throws milo. No, it doesn't throw milo. Yes, it does. Right. I just throwing it 60-something feet. So it's...
Well, at the shows, here's what I like. Here's one of the things that when we're doing trade shows, and we got this guy that comes up and, tell me about your feeder. What's so good about your feeder? What makes it better than the other? And so we go into our spiel, and we're telling him everything. And his little wife is just sitting there looking. You can just tell that old rat and that's running that wheel in there. And he don't want to buy one, but they come back, and he's like, my wife wants one to feed the squirrels and the birds. And then she gets one, and then what's he do the next year? Or he gets online, he's ordering him some when he sees how well it works.
Because she's upset because she tried to take it off the tree, put it in the woods, and run.
He tried to steal her.
What about my birds? What about my squirrels?
Right. So with the feeder sales increasing and kind of a building block for one and done, you got you got all kinds of ideas in your head. We know another guy that we're mutual friends with, Matt Garris.
Yep.
And I call him the mad scientist, and sometimes I call you that too. Y'all got all these ideas in your head. My mind don't work that way. It's just it just doesn't. So, but one of the next products that I want to talk about that we really use and love, and we can go back and touch on the feeder with the remote and some things like that, but is the all-terrain chair. We've started using that for a couple of years now, and so tell me what inspired that.
Hunting here in Oklahoma. I couldn't find it. Every time I would go out into the field, of course, a lot of hunters, everybody's different. There's steel hunters, there's box stand hunters, there people who sit on the ground. There's no wrong way to do it. Just what do you love? One of the things I love to do is ground hunt. Even without a blind, I like to be mobile, and I could not find a chair that would sit low enough, comfortable. Right. Because as well as I do, there's no such thing as smooth ground out there in the woods. You rarely find it. If you're most of the time,
normally you're unlevel.
Oh yeah. So when I designed this chair, it was for the application, for a hunter from a hunter, and it was mainly at first just for me, hoping that a lot of people had the same problems I had. So when I did this, each leg was independent to where you can sit on the side of the hill sideways, frontwards or backwards, or if you were in Rocky, or even if you were turkey hunting and you're sitting next to a tree and the roots on your right hand side, you can pick your leg up and have the other legs down. So that's where that was, I guess, formed. And I actually broke it in Colorado. I went elk hunting, and the guy that was with me, he said, listen, we're gonna go to the high country this evening, and we're gonna hunt as long as you want to hunt. So you tell me when you're ready to go. I was like, yes, sir. So we get way up here in these mountains in the middle of nowhere, and I break out this chair, and he's like, what is that? And I said, well, that's a new chair that I'm trying.
He thinks it's a lawn chair.
Yeah, that's exactly. And he's like, man, that's okay. Well, we sit there and we start hunting at probably about 10 o'clock that morning. And that afternoon, I sat in that chair other than to get up and use the restroom. I sat right back down, and I counted 9.5 hours I sat comfortably, because you can actually, like we do at the shows, you can actually rock it back. You can take the back legs, drop it down, and pick the front up to where it
doesn't cut off circulation to your legs and your feet. Yeah.
And then we got done hunting. He looked at me. He said, it was dark. He said, you will never come hunting with me again. And now this is not words you want to hear from your guide after your dream hunt. And I looked at him and I was like, what are you talking about? He said, you will never come hunting with me until you get me one of those chairs. And he said, we should have been gone a long time ago. He said, my hunters usually last about 4 hours. I wasn't expecting to stay here till dark.
Right.
So that chair, allowed me to do that. It still does. I tell people all the time, just go sit in it. You don't have to believe me. Go sit in it, and we sell more of those to women.
We do. It's just like the 30-gallon feeder. We're at a show, and the woman comes by, and
I could use that at the baseball game, or the soccer game,
or sitting around a campfire. Ooh, those would be nice for camping. Yep. And then the wife buys one, the husband steals it, and they're back at the show the next year or ordering them online. We have 4 of them. We love them. We take them everywhere we go. We've taken them to Pensacola, on the beach.
Yeah.
We deer hunt out of them. We like to get brushed in the back of a cedar tree or something. Turkey hunting, fishing. Man, I go out to the lake, and every time we're camping, I'm kickback catfishing with my rod holder and everything. And these guys are coming up. They're like, "What is it? What are you sitting in? Did you chop the legs off of a lawn chair?" I was like, "No, it's all aluminum, aircraft aluminum, isn't it?"
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it's 90% of it's welded.
Right.
So it's super strong. And probably about the one thing that we hear the most of course, is, man, it's heck getting out of this. And I'm like, wait a second, you're going to base being comfortable for hours, getting up in 15 seconds?
Well, they're just getting out of it wrong. Once they figure out how to get out of it. And I'm 250, and it holds me well. So, anyways, we love them. So, a couple of other products that you've got out is the backpack.
Yeah.
You designed a backpack that's not only for the tactical hunter, but or not for the tactical guy, but also for the hunter.
Yeah.
You know, serves both purposes. So, tell us a little bit about that. I think some of that stemmed from your law enforcement days and hunting.
Yeah.
So
mainly it was a little bit law enforcement, but mainly my problem, like, you know, a lot of hunters, and I'm always trying to think, you know, outside the box, but, you know, I would go to the stand or riding in the buggy, and I was always adjusting my rifle on my shoulder. We all always do that. Or you put it over, you know, crossways, and it's biting into your neck, you know.
Right.
So I said, man, there's got to be a backpack, of course, that hands-free, to where when I step out of the camp, couldn't find one. So I designed this to where the straps are on the front, and you can actually place your rifle, you know, sideways on the front. And what that does is several things. First of all, if you're ever following anybody in the woods, even if you trip and fall, the gun's always pointed in a safe direction.
Right. That's very important.
One of the second things is I can leave the camp, you know, that I've got in Arkansas, and put it in the front, step on my four-wheeler in the buggy, you know, drive to my stand, get out of the buggy, put my hands in my pocket, which is priceless, click the flashlight that's on my shoulder, that's portable, and walk to the stand and never take my hands out of the pocket. I mean, that
Right.
to me is, you don't have to hold your gun. Even getting up in the stand, same thing. Climbing in my stand, the gun stays in front of me. I don't have to take it off. And that morning when the hunt's over with, you know, if I'm walking back to the four-wheeler, I'm doing the same thing. I don't have to hold it. My shoulders are doing it for me.
Right.
Even if I see a deer, I pick up the gun, look through it, drop it back down.
Yeah.
So it's just...
Well, you
just
put a lot of thought into it. One of the things I like about it is the cell phone pouch.
Oh, yeah.
The see-through, and so you can you can hang your backpack up. You know,
Yeah.
I always hang my backpacks up, and I can see my cell phone. And of course, you know, I know it's waterproof. And then all the pockets, man, just the pockets on the strap that goes around the waist, and you can put clips, ammo. For me, I like to take snacks, so I can put a lot of groceries in your backpack.
I tell people this: when you get tired of packing your gun in the woods, try one of our backpacks, and trust me, it's well worth it.
It's super nice, super nice. So you know, all this has led to you have a bear-proof feeder that's bear-proof. The bear can't get in the lid.
Yep.
They can't open the door. You know, your first few models, you had some issues
We did.
you had to work out, and that's where hunters helped you out buying the product and
yeah.
saying, "Hey, this is what happened." And
Yep, we listened.
right,
That's the main thing.
listen to your customer, and was able to make some
Modifications,
yeah,
changes.
But that led to needing, you know, you've got a bear-proof feeder, but bears are chewing. These guys would go buy a $500 feeder, actually $450.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, but price is different at the shows and discounts and stuff like that. But they buy this feeder, but they're putting a cheap Harbor Freight or dollar store
Which we all do.
strap on it.
Yeah,
Right.
we all do. And it gets tore off the tree. The good news is we had a lot of customers that would call us and say, you know, man, he tore it off the tree. We went out in the woods with it, you know, found it, you know, 100 yards, put it back on the tree. You know, of course, the battery's shorted out, but it still works. So we went to the drawing board to kind of think of, okay, well, there's got to be a ratchet strap out there that, and believe it or not, the one thing that motivated me the most for that ratchet strap was actually not the feeder. It was, I had somebody, you know, I'm not going to name any names, but I had somebody in my hometown that I knew that hung his stand in August, his lock on. And when he bow hunted it in October, he didn't realize that the squirrels had chewed his strap from August. He fell out of the tree and ended up dying.
Right. Yeah,
And it was,
deal.
it was, and we all know people like that, you know, and so that was one of my main motivations. Like, you know, there's got to be something that we can do to help out with that, because you know as well as I do, you and I both. I mean, every hunter has gotten into the tree stand at night, and even when you're climbing, there's no way you can check your straps.
Right.
So when we designed this strap, this stainless steel, I wanted something literally that you could not cut.
Right.
And that the bear couldn't chew through. I mean, nothing. And that's why we came up with this stainless steel with this inner core, you know. And the sad thing about this, if you really want to know the truth, Michael, is we could not bring it out sooner because of you know how patents are and all that other stuff. And I could just remember thinking, you know, how many other people are gonna going to fall or something's going to happen. So
Right.
that's where it was designed, and finally got it out. And this thing is 1 inch, 8,500 pound strength.
That's amazing. We're going to stop for just a second. We got to get our tech guy in here, Chris. The screen. Bear with us, folks. I'm new to this. Okay, just making sure.
I was gonna say, for anybody who doesn't know what the strap is, because when I hear that, my first thought is like a steel strap, like a.
Okay.
You might,
Yeah.
because there's gonna be people who.
Right,
hear
yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Just describe it.
All right.
So the makeup of the strap, people are hearing stainless steel strap. Can you elaborate on that more to kind of give them an idea of
Right,
what it
I
is?
understand. Most like what you said, you think of a band. No, we actually designed this to be completely flexible.
Right.
And everybody knows, any type of steel, if you kink it at a 90, that's done. You lose 90% of your strength. So we designed this thing. It's actually woven steel.
Right.
And that's what gives two things. It gives it its strength, and it gives it its flexibility with its inner core, to where you can put it in a ratchet and actually bind it all the way around and then redo it. But a couple of things that I like about it is the fact that there's almost no stretch. So if you bind down your stand, if you bind down a lock-on, if you bind down your side-by-side, your piece of farm equipment, once it's there, that's it.
It's not going
It's
anywhere.
not going anywhere. And with 8,500 pound strength, I mean, you can.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Well, the name, I still remember the day that we were talking on the phone, and he's like, Michael, I got to tell you this name. And I didn't understand it at first. I nearly hung up on you.
It's a Southern thing.
Yeah, or it's a Louisiana thing,
Yeah.
I guess, because I'm from the South too, and we do say this, but
And don't realize
what's the name of the strap?
The gore strap.
And he says "goal." Up here in Oklahoma, we say "gar."
Like gore. Look
Yeah.
at that big buck. Gore. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's where it originated, because I mean, most people look at this strap and even at the
show,
and they go, "Gore, what is this?"
Right.
And that's how it was. It was named. We spelled it GOL. Keep it simple.
GOL, the goal strap.
Yeah.
And we kind of launched it at the ATA. That would have been 20 ATA.
Yeah.
No, 19 ATA. I don't know. I got my dates confused. But
It was actually 18, because that was just before the COVID and all that other stuff. It was a year before the COVID.
So we take this thing up there, and we're wanting to, or you're wanting to target tree stand companies and the hunter for safety,
Yeah.
and because that was your main goal. And it was just amazing to me how many hunters were at the ATA show that have other businesses, lawn and garden, backhoe services, trucking companies, electrical companies, and they're just I've been in the outdoor industry now for 15 years, and I've never seen a product get that kind of attention.
Yeah.
And so the future is bright for that, but COVID has slowed down some production
Yeah.
and some things like that. So just kind of tell us, when's it going to be released? When's it going to be here?
This month, March 2021, we
Okay.
finally got everything set, and patents are in place, and we're able to start filling orders, and you can order online.
Right. And so you guys, any of the products that we talked about here today, you can find online, and the strap is their talk with Amazon and doing some things like that. So, but www.oneanddonepro.com is where you can go to see these products, and you're going to see us using them this fall. Of course, you've seen us use all the other products, but you're going to see us using the golf strap for the first time this fall. I had a prototype for a while, and was doing some things with it, and then somebody took it from me. Because you got to have the testing done.
Yeah, we actually had the test out. We had to bring that to Houston to the engineering company to break it and to see what. They didn't even have an abrasion test to test the abrasion on it. They actually had to create a test for that to see how it was more resistant than a nylon.
Right.
Because you know as well as I do, how many times you go down the highway and see, oh, there's a ratchet strap on the side of the highway. Somebody lost it. I mean, how many orange ones and green ones? Constantly.
I pick them up and was tying them together.
Sound like me. Well, with this strap, you don't have to worry about it. If you see one on the side of the road, it bounced off the tailgate.
Right. Yeah, they lost it some other way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys, we just want to tell Jeff that we appreciate him coming and telling you folks about his products, and we appreciate you guys listening. And I'm not sure what our next podcast is going to be. Do you, Chris? You never know where we're going to go. We
how to pick up pretty women.
Yeah. In your case,
I've already got a good one.
Yeah, me too. So, but no, we're gonna talk about lots of things, and hopefully things that interest you guys. And we're definitely going to interview more of our partners and sponsors. But you guys go check out oneanddonepro.com and get you some of those products and give us some feedback. You know, check out the social media pages, especially Facebook, and send us pics of products you use and what you think about them. We would love to have your input. I guess over and out. Till next time, huh?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, buddy. Y'all be blessed at home.